now, when exactly are you planning to give your test? So how soon are you all planning to give your test, your IELTS test, and how's your preparation going on? Anything that you are finding particularly challenging? Yeah, good evening, everybody. There's so many people out here who have joined. So yes, Shraddha says 28th May. Okay, so you have good about 1 month here. Shobit, good evening. Okay, Jaspreet also says in May. What about others? How soon are you giving your IELTS test? Okay, some are planning in September, some in early May. So wonderful, wonderful, whatever be the date, it may be a few months down the line or just about a month away or maybe 15 days, but you all need to practice because Shraddha, you're talking about facing difficulties in writing module. Yes, writing, I believe, is a challenging section. So Kalyan, you've already given your exam, but you got 6 in writing and overall 6.5. So would like to improve your writing skills. Yes, certainly writing, as I said, writing certainly is a very challenging section because in your writing, writing is a productive skill, right? You are producing sentences, producing language. And that's where many people face a difficulty because nowadays we are not really used to of writing. Isn't that so? With all those voice messages to one another and brief chats, WhatsApp chat and Telegram chats with one another, people have lost the habit of writing. And that's where people are facing a problem these days because they are not at all habitual of constructing long sentences and writing, producing long articles or reports to write their answers in their IELTS. So yes, of course, and people use a lot of abbreviations nowadays. And remember, in your IELTS, you can't use any abbreviations. Well, you are tested on 4 parameters as far as your writing is concerned, and they go strictly by those 4 parameters, which includes your vocabulary, your grammar, your coherence and cohesion, and of course your task achievement. So there's so much that they test you on. It's not as if that you are given a band or as per the whims and fancies of the examiner. No, certainly not. There is a very technical way of judging you on your writing tasks, and the examiner tends to notice all those things in your answer. So today we are going to deal with task 1. So let's get going, everybody, and I'm going to share my screen. So we will see what best we can do in this half an hour's time, right? It's a short session, but we are going to make the most of it, and stay tuned till the end because as always, my sessions are interactive and I'm going to have a few exercises for you so that we can feel confident of doing certain things right in a right manner at the end of the class. So whatever we have learned, we are going to try and implement that at the end of the class, at the end of the session with the help of a few exercises. So stay tuned till the end, right? Jaspreet, this session is primarily meant for the academic training students. So task 1 related to academic training. Okay. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Well, I'm sure you can see my screen now. So that's a little about me, a little information about me. I introduced myself. So, this is the topic for today. So it's writing hacks for task 1 and how to move from band 6 to band 8. So what are the things that you need to keep in mind as far as your task 1 is concerned? We discuss a lot about task 2, but then I thought this time round I'm going to deal with task 1 because many a times people know how to deal with it, how to handle it, but then they can understand the information, but then how to write that and how to put across, how to do certain things which can fetch you a higher band, because this is not a very difficult task, but then the trick lies in trying to construct sentences in such a manner which can help you up your band in this task, right? So we're going to look at this task 1 for the academic students, which is a report writing, right, everybody? So let's get going. A short quiz just to quickly see how much you know about the writing section, a very, very quick one. And let's just put on our thinking caps and quickly answer the questions, just to be a little familiar with the writing section. So how long is the writing section? Use the chat box to quickly give me the answers. I'm not audible, Gurdeep. What about the others? Am I not audible? Audible. Okay, fine. Yes, 60 minutes. No, I said the writing section. I did not ask particularly about task 1. So the writing section is 60 minutes, and that's right. It's 1 hour, total of 1 hour. And sorry, yeah. How many tasks are there to complete in that 1 hour? How many tasks are there? Yes, 2 tasks to complete. That's great. So what about the 2 tasks? Which are the 2 tasks, by the way? Task 1 is report writing. And task 2, what about task 2? That's an essay. Very good. And which task has more weightage? Okay, the essay has more weightage. That's right. Now, how much time should you spend on task 1 and task 2? You have, let me tell you that there is a free hand to do pacing on your own. So it's not as if you are asked to spend, it's mandatory for you to spend 20 minutes on task 1 and 40 on task 2. It is just advisable. Okay, it is advisable that you finish your task 1 in 20 minutes and do this task 2 in the remaining 40 minutes. That's primarily because task 2 carries double the amount of weightage, so it makes sense to spend double the amount of time as well. So task 1, just about 20 minutes, and that's sufficient for that one. Okay. Well, now, what about the assessment parameters? Now, how many assessment parameters are there for grading the writing task? Yes, 4. And can somebody tell me what are they? In fact, I hinted at it right in the beginning of the session. So what are the 4 parameters? Anybody has any idea? One of them is task achievement. Yes, grammar and accuracy, very good. And lexical resource, which is vocabulary, very good. And what about the others? Cohesion and coherence and task response, very good. So these are the 4. Yes, these are the 4 assessment parameters. And do all of them have an equal amount of weightage? Are all these parameters equally important? Yes or a no? Yes, they are equally important. So that means if you give undue advantage, importance to one of them, then what happens, and you ignore the rest, that means your score in the remaining parameters is going to go down, and therefore your overall band will also go down. So don't just emphasize on one of them. Pay equal amount of attention to all the 4 parameters because they are equally important here. So that's what we need to keep in mind as far as your writing is concerned. Well, great. That's good. You all have some information about the writing section. Let's get going now. Just a basic information about the differentiation between the academic and the general test. So who takes the academic test? Well, it is meant for those people who are going abroad for higher education at a university or a college in an English speaking country. And as far as the general training is concerned, it is meant for those people who go abroad for immigration purpose or for work experience, right? Okay, now what about the writing section? Well, everybody, there's 1 hour to do your writing test, and you have a free hand to do pacing on your own. So there is, you're advised to spend not more than 20 minutes on your task 1 and 40 minutes on your task 2. However, nobody is going to give you a paper or ask you to stop writing after 20 minutes. Okay, so it's advisable that you spend about 20 minutes for your task 1. Okay. Well, overall time is one hour. So please do leave the last few minutes for some kind of editing and proofreading, because that's always advisable in your writing section. You're bound to make a few errors here and there. Task 1, what is task 1? Well, task 1, as we just discussed, it's report writing based on pictorial representation of information for the academic students. And what about the general training students? Well, general training students have letter writing as their task 1. How many words do we need to write as far as task 1 is concerned? Well, at least 150. So that means the lower limit is given as 150. You can add about 25 to 50 words there. That should be good enough. About 200 words should be enough for a task 1. No need to overshoot, because this is it's a very focused writing that you are doing here. None of your ideas come into play as far as academic writing, report writing is concerned. You just have to keep that information in mind. Whatever you can see in the pictorial representation, you have to keep that and in view and write about that. Okay. Well, what about task 2? Task 2 is essay writing with at least 250 words. Again, you can add about 50 to 75 words, and that should be good enough for the essay, right? And the band is allotted on a scale of 0 to 9 based on all the 4 parameters. And task 2, yes, carries double the amount of weightage, right? So that's a little about the writing section. So let's move on and understand the now what are the 4 parameters for the bands on the basis of which you are given your bands. Well, we just discussed, and you all contributed to that one, that it is task achievement. Now, as far as task 1 is concerned, we're looking at task 1. So it is task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy, right? There are some people who've raised their hands. You can use the chat box to ask me questions if you have any. Okay. So what is task achievement? Well, task achievement indicates that you fully satisfy all the requirements of the task and clearly present a fully developed response. Okay, so that is task achievement. Now, what about coherence and cohesion? So that indicates that you use all your linking words and linking devices. So linkers must be in place, paragraphing must be in place. So one idea should logically lead, or one paragraph should logically lead to the next. So the organization should be followed. We will, in fact, in this session, we are going to look at the organization of task 1, how to organize the task 1. So use cohesion in such a way that it attracts no attention, and skillfully manage paragraphing using reference words whenever required. What about the lexical resource? Well, lexical resource means using a wide range of vocabulary with very natural and sophisticated control over lexical features, and that indicates that you need to use words which are appropriate for talking about the various trends, and you must be able to show your ability to use language flexibly, right? Now, grammatical range and accuracy. Now, grammar is an important part of writing. You can't escape using the right kind of tenses. The voice is very important. Well, in task 1, it's advisable to use a passive voice because that brings about a formal, report writing. At the same time, of course, making sure that you don't produce errors in punctuation, grammar, sentence structures. So all that needs to be kept in mind. So these are the 4 parameters. Now, what is task 1? Now, task 1, yes, everybody. What about task 1? What kind of information is presented to you? In which formats? You can see a number of formats here on the screen. Isn't that so? Now, sometimes there could be a bar chart, at other times a line graph, a map, a table of information, a pie chart. It could be a process diagram as well. So it could be a cyclical diagram like this one, or a linear one like this. So, but do you think that they would always appear in isolation? That means only one piece of information would be there, or there could be a combination also. Could there be a combination of informations presented to you, or there's only one piece of information? Yes, there is. It's possible that you may have 2 or 3 pieces of information, right? You could have a bar chart clubbed together with a pie chart or a line graph along with a table, or for that matter, you may have 3 maps or 2 maps to compare. You may have a diagram as well as a pie chart of some kind. So combinations are possible. So that means you need to make sure that you address all pieces of information which are part of the question. Okay, so that you must keep in mind. So these are various ways in which the information could be presented to you. So it's a pictorial information that's presented to you, right? Now, what is the question, or what does the question require you to do in your task 1? Well, writing task 1 of the academic test requires you to write a summary. Now, the information may be presented to you for 20 years, 30 years. Now, is it possible to write about all those 30 years in your answer? Is that possible to write? No, it's not possible. So what do? You summarize the information, you compare, you group together the information and you summarize it. Okay, so what does the information, what does the question require you to do? The question has 3 objectives which you need to fulfill in your task. And what are they? Well, you need to summarize the information. Okay, you need to highlight key trends and support them with data. And along with that, you also need to do a comparison and contrast. So these 3 objectives should be met in the task that you are doing in your task 1. Okay, so well, you need to write a summary of at least 150 words in response to a particular graph or a table or a chart or a process or a diagram or a map for that matter. And this task tests your ability to select and report the main features, to describe and compare the data, identify significance and trends in factual information, or describe a process. Okay, so that means you need to identify the trends and you need to bring them up, you need to highlight them in your answer. So this is what the task requires. Now let's look at as part of the task, what is it that you need to do? What will be the various parts of your answer? Let's just see what is important to do in your task 1. Okay, so well, you need to write an introduction. Now, introduction means that you would be explaining the data source, you would be giving information about what you'd be telling the purpose of the information, right? So we will look at the details of all these parts of the answer. We're just having a look at what exactly are you required to do as part of your task 1. So write an introduction and write an overview. Overview is very important, a summary of what you can see. So one glance at the information, what is it that comes to your mind? How can you summarize that or write a gist of that is what comes in the overview. And I will surely let you know that what not to do in an overview and what exactly to do in an overview, because overview is really very important part of your answer. Okay. Well, the last thing that you need to do is to present and highlight the key features with figures or data. So this is basically what you require to do in the task: an introduction, an overview, and of course the body paragraphs, where you are going to present and highlight the key features and also do a comparison and contrast and support that with data, right? So now let's look at the various parts of the answer. Now, let's look at the introduction. Introduction is the first thing that comes in your answer. So this is the first paragraph that you're going to write. Okay. So what do you write in your introduction here? So it's very important that you write the introduction, because you need to tell the examiner what you're going to write about. So anybody who's reading your answer should not feel the need to go back and look at the question. So that's how clear your introduction should be. The introduction should give some complete information about the data source. So it's basically the question paraphrased. Okay, so paraphrased version of the question. For example, what the visual diagram or information is about. You need to tell about the data source, okay, and when the data was collected. That means the time frame, right? So that means whether the data is from 1990 to 2000 or 2005. So all that information should come in your introduction. What does it show? What is the data source? That means it is related to a school in England or whatever, or it's about the production of cars or automobiles. So what is it? What is the data source, and when the data was collected means the time frame. Now, remember, if there are 2 diagrams or 2 diagrammatic representations or pictorial representations, or 3 of them for that matter, in your task, like we discussed just now, that there could be a combination of information presented to you, not just one single source of information. So if you have more than one source of information, please remember that you need to introduce both. Let's say the pie chart provides information about dash, 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 and the table gives us information or represents this. So you need to talk about both the data sources and not just talk about one. So this can be done in just about 2 sentences are enough for an introduction. 2 to 3 sentences are enough for an introduction. No more than that is required. Okay. We will look at some do's and don'ts. So let's just look at what not to do or what to do in your introduction. So let's first look at the do's. So write a clear introduction to describe what you see. It's very important. That means you paraphrase the question prompt. Don't copy word by word because your marks are going to come down dramatically. At the same time, those words will be deducted from the overall word count. Okay. So use keywords in your introduction, like the dates, times, countries, and genders. So use some keywords from the question. However, don't copy the question as it is to introduce your answer. Introduce all charts, diagrams, and tables. That means no matter how many pieces of information there are, make sure that you address all of them or introduce all of them. Well, what not to do? Don't present irrelevant information. That means there are lots of people who write in their answers that the x-axis shows this, the y-axis shows this, the red line represents this, the black line represents this. Let's say it's a line graph, and they talk about the red line, the blue line, the gray line. So please don't do all that. That's very kiddish. That's not supposed to be. You need to write your introduction in the form of sentences, which just states the purpose of the information or the data source. And we are going to look at a few examples. So don't present this kind of information where you talk about the x-axis has the percentage, the y-axis has this. Don't do that, okay? And don't copy the question prompt word for word. Use paraphrased version, okay? Okay, now let's look at a few examples of how to write your introduction. Well, for a table, you could say the table illustrates employment numbers in Canada over a 30-year period from 1980 to 2010. Okay, so now this provides information about everything around. So take the help of all the labels around the graph, whether it is the caption, the information on the x-axis and the y-axis. Take the help of all that to weave a sentence which provides information. Okay, but don't write that x-axis mentions this, sorry, the y-axis mentions this, the x-axis mentions this, the green line, the blue line. Don't do all that, please. So the table illustrates employment numbers in Canada over a 30-year period from 1980 to 2010. What about a bar chart? The bar chart compares the number of cars that were made in Holland, France, Germany, and Poland over a decade from 2005 to 2015. So this is a paraphrased, so whatever be the question, you're just paraphrasing the information and writing in your own words what exactly it shows. If there's more than one bar, naturally you can use the word compares, because it may be comparing the production in various countries. So you may have multiple bars for every year. So in this case, the word compares would be quite appropriate, right? Now, what about a map? You could say maps illustrate changes in an Irish village. So usually maps indicate some kind of changes. They illustrate some kind of changes that may have taken from one year to the next, or over a century or over a number of years. So you can talk about the, it illustrates changes in an Irish village over a century from 1915 to 2015. So that's how you can mention. Now, what about a line graph? The graph presents data from Ireland showing cinema attendance in major cities in 2016. Okay. So, well, these are various ways that you can give your introduction. Introduction needs to be brief, and just about 2 lines you can write your introduction. Nothing more than that is required. Okay. Now, before we move ahead, just a small piece of information about a number of courses, and a number of things that you can do with LeapScholar. Well, you all are here for the purpose of preparing for your IELTS, right? And one way that LeapScholar can help you out is that there are some IELTS premium batches, and they are, specially curated batches with just about 1 week, 1 week within which your course would be completed. So these are special batches at a very reasonable price, 9 hours of live classes. So you have live sessions so in 1 week, they would complete 9 hours, 1.5 hours of each session. Okay. Compact batch size, which would help you to get a personal attention and live interaction with the educator. 5 sets of mock tests, which includes your listening, reading, and writing. And that really helps because mock tests are really very important to understand how well you're progressing. And 8 speaking club slots, which indicates that you will be able to give your speaking test and get evaluated in your speaking, okay, for your speaking section. And expert writing evaluations, which are very important. They are actually priceless because who gives you the detailed evaluation about your writing? So that's just part of the course. So you have writing evaluations as well, and recordings of all live sessions which you can use, let's say before 1 week before your test or a few days before your test. You can run through and revise or refresh your memory about all the strategies that you have learned in the class. Well, these are special batches because you can use them for joining module-wise course. Okay, so this 1 week batch is going to be related to a certain module that you may want to do. So you can join 2 modules at one time, or only one module, or 3 modules. It depends how many modules you would like to join. And in fact, you can join them alongside at different time slots. So if you're short of time, you can complete all of them in 1 week. Or if you feel that only writing is a challenge, then you can just enroll yourself for the writing course and take 1 week classes. Now, this course is for 548. However, because you are my live audience, you can use my code SNLive20 and you can get a 20% discount and get this for only 438. So you use this code. This is a very good opportunity to get some discount on this course. Or as it is, the price is very reasonable, but surely you can get a 20% discount by using SNLive20. Well, let me just show you that there are a number of batches like this. If you log on to www.leapscholar.com, you will be able to see a number of batches at different timings. You can choose a batch as per your convenience. So there are different batches like speaking, writing. You have various options, reading. So various options are there, and you can choose to do any of these that you would want to do, right? By using SNLive20, you can get a discount of 20%. And another novel offering from LeapScholar is the IELTS speaking rooms. Well, the IELTS speaking rooms are places where you can practice your speaking with people from all over India 24/7. All you have to do is to download the Leap Prep app by LeapScholar and on your Android devices. And you can, on the app, you can see the speak button. Just click on that and join any of the speaking rooms and practice your speaking anytime and anywhere through your app, right? Well, let's just move on and let's look at what you need to do as far as the overview is concerned, right? Stay tuned till the end. I have a few exercises lined up for you. So that's going to be quite exciting to do some exercises with me with regard to task 1. Well, let's look at the overview. Now, what about the overview? I said that after the introduction, you need to write the overview. Now, overview is also a very important part of your answer. What is overview? Overview is a quick summary of or a gist of what you see in the visual representation. So the overview in your response should just summarize what you see in the visual diagram, and it should just summarize the main trends, changes, developments, stages, or noticeable features. So you just need to summarize these in the overview. And remember that you need to present a clear overview to reach a band 7 and higher. If an overview is missing or it is not clearly written, you certainly can't get a high band. You just can't reach even a 7, leave aside going higher than that, okay? Well, what exactly do you need to keep in mind while writing the overview, the do's and the don'ts? Use linking words to summarize what you see. So use Start your overview by using some linking words. Overall, to summarize, in summary, or clearly, you can use any of these words to start your overview. Look for trends in the diagram. Is there an overall increase, decrease, fluctuation in the visual representation, or are there any high and low points, or is it stable? So at one glance over the information, and if you're able to identify any of these, write a gist of that, summarize that in your overview. So that's something very important. If the visual diagram shows future predictions, summarize the future trends in your overview. That's also very important. Sometimes, the information is given about the future predictions. So summarize that future trend as well in the overview. Now, what about not the things that you must not do in your overview? Well, include data or don't include data or figures in your overview. Please refrain from doing that, because sometimes people do go ahead and talk about the data. Should we mention the data in the overview? Not at all. Please don't mention that. Karamveer, overview is the second paragraph of your answer. Please do remember that overview is the second paragraph of your answer. So the first one is the introduction and the second one is the overview. Okay. Overview is the second paragraph from top. Okay. The course, now somebody is asking how how many days will the course be valid for? Well, the course is going to be valid in the sense that when you join, the course would be completed at LeapScholar in 1 week. However, you would have recordings for life. Okay, so you can keep the recordings and you can use them even later to refresh your memory. Let's say prior to the exam, you can just run through. All that can be done. Okay, so we were looking at some of the don'ts. Don't include data or figures, only include a summary of the main trends or features. Don't identify everything in the overview, because if you write everything in the overview, what are you going to write in your body paragraph? So please, it is a gist or a summary of what you can see in the information. So don't write everything there in the overview. Overview is meant to be very short, just about 2 or 3 lines, and you're done with your overview. Okay, it is the statement of most noticeable features in the diagram. So highlight key features with, don't highlight the key features with data in the overview, because data is not meant to be written in the overview. So these points you must remember, do not do these in your overview, which is just the second paragraph of your answer, right? Let's look at a few examples of the overview. Let's say if you have a process diagram, then if the process diagram shows how man-made fibers are produced, what would be the overview in this case? It can clearly be seen that there are 7 steps involved in the production of cloth, starting with the raw materials and ending with the final product. So this is just giving a summarized version of what you can notice in the information that's presented to you in the form of a process diagram. That means 7 steps involved in the production, right from the raw materials to the final product. Now, what about a bar chart? So if there's a bar chart, you could, and if it compares the number of cars that were made in Holland, Germany, and France and Poland over a decade from 2005 to 15, what would be the overview in this case? The overview would be in brief. So everybody notice that this is the overview. I have written this just to introduce the topic. Okay, this is the introduction, but overview starts from here, from the linking word. Okay, in brief, Germany was the major producer of vehicles over this period, followed by France and Poland. Okay, so that's about the overview. That's how the overviews need to be written very briefly. The key feature, something that's the highlight, needs to be written there in a summarized way. You don't need to write everything that you can notice in the information, because that will come in your body paragraph. Okay, now let's just move to the body paragraphs. So key features. Now key features, where do they come? You do a you summarize the information, highlight key features, and do a comparison and contrast in the body paragraph. So these 3 things will come in the body paragraph, which are going to be really very important for you. Now here you need to take control of your language and make sure that you use a lot of linking words to compare and contrast to a variety of sentence structures to showcase your writing skills. So, and of course, illustrate information with data time in between. And there are certain do's and don'ts that you need to keep in mind. Well, we are going to discuss that. First, let's just look at what needs to be done in the body paragraph. Well, in your IELTS academic writing task 1, you must present key features and use data to support the description. And the key features are the features that stand out the most in the diagram. What should you not do? Now, many a times we see that people just make a very mechanical description or write a very mechanical description of the data. For example, in 1992, it was 2%, 1993, it was 3%, and 1994, it was 6%. Should we do this? No. If we do this, can we get enough marks or a good band for this kind of answer? Certainly not. Why? Because this is as good as just converting the pictorial representation into words and writing the same thing in a mechanical way in the form of a sentence. So why should we actually go ahead and do all that? Why not just have a quick look at the figure? That's much better. So this kind of answer will not add weight. Rather, you can't expect any good band with this kind of answer. So what you need to do is to write, show your creativity at constructing sentences, do a comparison and contrast through your language, use a lot of linkers. So be creative in showcasing your writing skills by constructing different kind of sentence structures. Okay. Don't present the data inaccurately. So be very careful. Many a times people lose focus and they forget what exactly was on the y-axis or x-axis. So make sure you read what the y-axis carefully to see what data is shown. Okay, it's very important. Don't use calculations to respond to the task, like start calculating averages or subtract or add numbers. Remember to present the data as given. Okay, so don't start doing calculations. And don't misread the data and present it incorrectly. For example, saying females instead of males, or like 72% of the females play football instead of males. So inaccurate data presented will also bring your score down. Okay. Well, yes, of course, Jhansi, we need to compare, not just write the same data, because mechanically presenting the data will not add weight to your answer. Okay. Now gear up for some exercise. So everybody all there ready to do an exercise with me? I have now this exercise, remember, it is related to a body paragraph. Because writing an overview and the introduction is not that complicated. What we need to understand is how to do a comparison and contrast as far as your body paragraph is concerned. So let's quickly look at this small exercise and quickly fill up the blanks to construct our body paragraph. Right. Now let's look at this. This data shows you a pie chart. Right. Now, what does it show you as far as the pie chart is concerned? Rob's Music Store sales. So it shows the sales for Rob's Music Store. And what are the sales related to? They are related to CDs, PC games, posters, and DVDs. So what are you supposed to do here? Well, you are supposed to fill up this, these few questions, fill up the blanks in these few questions to build a body paragraph. Notice the language here. It's not mechanically written. Look at the sentence structures. All the sentences are constructed in a very different manner. So it is a wonderful way to write the description of this pie chart. So let's look at this and let's quickly do this one. Right, everybody ready? According to the chart dash. Now, a test tip here I have given you all because many people tend to make this mistake. Let's look at this first. Percent comes after a number. Percentage comes after words like the, this, that, etc. So don't say 50%, 60%. That's wrong. Okay, please don't make such kind of mistakes. And is often preceded by an adjective. So it could be a high percentage of. Okay, so a high is an adjective. So percentage of, and percent and percentage both go with the preposition of. Okay. So, well, let's look at this. According to the chart, dash of the shop sales are DVDs. Yes, very quickly. How much? The body paragraph can be initiated like this only, Karamveer. You can start like this, the way this one has been started, okay? According to the chart, you can mention like this, okay? 60%, okay, Jhansi says 60%, okay, majority of the shop sales are DVDs. Very good. That's also a creative way of writing, Mayuri. Very good. So others are saying 60%. Mayuri says majority of the shop sales are DVDs. That's great. And CDs, both are correct. You can write either way. Somebody may want to write the number. The others may want to write some kind of, word here to indicate a proportion, right? Okay, CDs account for a much smaller dash of sales. What is this? Remember, the adjective smaller is used here. So can you use a number here along with this dash? In this dash? No, you can't. So what is it? Yes, much smaller chances is, okay, percentage, much smaller percentage of sales, right? So whenever it is an adjective, that means it's not the number that goes in here. It has to be the word percentage, okay, much smaller proportion or percentage of sales. Very good. And while PC games account for dash, while PC games account for dash of the store's sales, how much is that? We are very good. 20% of the store's sales. The dash of the CD sold is only 15. What is only 15? The dash of the CD sold is only 15. Not volume. The data is given in terms of, the appropriate word here would be percentage. Very good, Nikita. So percentage of CDs sold is only 15. Posters represent the dash of goods sold. Remember, the word the is there. So that means some kind of superlative is going to go in here in the blank. The dash of goods sold. The minority, Jhansi, the sentences have to be grammatically correct. So it can't be minority, right? Represent the overall of goods sold? No. Look at this, posters. Look at the number here for posters. What is the number for posters? That's only 5%. So posters represent the lowest. Isn't that so? Lowest percentage of goods sold. Isn't that the lowest? Yes, everybody? Yes, lowest percentage. We also need to write the word percentage of goods sold. Lowest percentage of goods sold. Right. Okay, very good. So we have here, according to the chart, so okay, 60, so we all mentioned 60% of the shop sales are DVDs. CDs account for a much smaller percentage of sales, while PC games account for 20% of the store sales. The percentage of CD sold is only 15. Minimum represent the minimum of goods sold. Nikita, it will not be grammatically correct. Okay. So posters represent the lowest percentage of goods sold, right? Okay, very good. Let's just quickly do the next one. Very, very quickly. We'll just take a few more minutes here and we'll be done. Well, what we need to do here is use any of these words to complete the body paragraph. You can use while, whereas, although. There are more words than required. Okay, so I just want you to choose here. Whereas, however, similar, similarly, unlike, equal, equally, both, neither, compared to, in contrast, different, from, the same, further, furthest, good, better, best. Well, let's look at this information. Let's look at the information here. Well, it shows the different hotels, the rooms, the number of rooms. Star ratings are given here and the distance from city center. So Cord is the farthest from city center, whereas Kendall is the nearest to the city center, and value for money. So Premda and Cord Hotel are have this, are the same value for money, or have equal value for money, right? Now, compared to the Kendall Hotel, the Premda is dash value for money. Which word goes in here? Very quickly. Compared to the Kendall, the Premda is, yes, the comparative word is better, good, better, best. Don't we know that? So the comparative word is better, right? Better value for money. Both the Premda and the Cod hotels are, sorry, there is a typo here. Cod hotel are dash good value for money. What is that? Look at the good value for money. Both Premda and Cod are equally, isn't that are they not equal? Yes. So what do we write? Equal or equally good value for money? Which one would be better? Equally good value for money. While the Cod has dash star rating, it is dash from the city center. Look at the contrast here. So while the Cod has dash star rating, the best star rating, okay, what about the highest star rating, right? It is, so while the Cod has the best star rating or the highest star rating, it is dash from the city center. Yes, the farthest from the city center. Very good, because see, it is 5 kilometers from the city center. Okay, now dash the Cod hotel. The Kendall is close to the city center. Use some word of contrast here. Dash the Cod hotel, the Kendall, because two hotels are being compared here. So dash the Cod hotel, the Kendall is close to the city center. Which one? Yes, compared to, there can be something else also that people can use. In contrast with, no, in contrast to the Cod hotel. Not in contrast in or with, in contrast to the Cod hotel, or unlike the Cod hotel. You can also use compared to or unlike. Very good. Yeah, Sambi Reddy. So unlike the Cod hotel, the Kendall is close to the city center. However, it has a dash star rating. It has a, remember, when two things are being compared, we don't use superlative, we only use the comparative degree. So what is it? Unlike, however, it has a dash star rating, a lower star rating. We are comparing two hotels here, Cod and Kendall. So we will say lower, not lowest. Okay, lower star rating. Although the Kendall and the Premda hotel have dash number of rooms, their star ratings are dash. What is it? Although the Kendall and Premda have dash number of rooms, yes, equal, but their star ratings are different. So the better word for the first blank would be some, yeah, same, have the same number of rooms, their star ratings are different, because different and same go together very well. So that's how we will fill up the blanks here. And what about the Cod looks like the, apparently the Cod looks like the dash hotel, even though it has dash rooms than the others. Look at the comparison and contrast being set up in all the sentences. So that's a wonderful way to compare and contrast the information. So the Cod looks like, apparently it looks like the, based on the star rating, what does it look like? It looks like the, use a superlative. It looks like the best hotel. Yes, even though it has dash rooms than the others. What about the number of rooms compared to the other hotels? Fewer. Very good, Sambi Reddy. I was waiting for that one. Fewer rooms than the others. We use fewer when it is a countable noun. Okay, so fewer rooms than the others. Very good. Great, great. So that is, a wonderfully written paragraph. You must have noticed a lot of comparison and contrast, lots of variety of sentence structures, different kinds of linking words to compare and contrast used throughout. And that is a good way to write your body paragraphs. That shows your creativity at writing. That shows how well you can use your language in a flexible way to construct a variety of sentence structures and do a comparison and contrast, right? So that was a great exercise and wonderfully done by you all. Everybody participated, and that was the best thing about it. Well, we come to an end to the session. And once again, I would just like to remind you to take this opportunity, golden opportunity, to use the code SNLive20 and enroll for a premium batch, 1 week special batches. There are a number of batches available, and please look through the website www.leapscholar.com and look through the various batches available for IELTS. And you can join any one of them. 9 hours of live classes, compact batch sizes, writing evaluations, mock tests, speaking club slots, and recordings of all the live sessions. So all that at just about 438 if you use the code SNLive20. This this 20% discount is available for the next few hours. So please do it as early as possible and join any of the batches that you feel you would like to join at various timings. The various timings are available, right? And also download the LeapScholar prep app to enjoy this facility about the speaking rooms. So join the speaking rooms and practice your speaking with people from all over India, and you can do that 24/7. So that's a novel offering from LeapScholar. So take opportunity to practice your speaking, right? Well, there are a number of batches like this. Go ahead and use the code SNLive20 and join the course of your choice at just 438 after a discount of 20%. Use your code SNLive20. Right. With that, on that note, I close this session here today. It was wonderful to have you all, and it was great participation from you all. And this is Shifanandi signing off. And well, see you soon with yet another session on YouTube. Yes, Kritesh, do you have something to ask? The link is shared in the chat box. Please go ahead and click on the link and join the course. So the links are all shared. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, everybody, thanks a lot. And it's been a great, a session where I had so active participation from all of you. And how would I mention or write the group in essay? What does that mean, Kritesh? I did not get that question. Write the group in essay. What's that? Yes, of course, we have the premium batch, Shobit, for writing as well. So we do have writing batches. Please go ahead and look at the batches that are available. So you have for various modules, choose the one which you need for writing. Okay. Example, the group of 15 to 40 years old people, etc. What do you mean that how would I mention or write the group in? Okay, you would say that the let's say the bar chart provides information about the number of people or the weekly earnings of people in England between the age groups 15 to 40. Okay, so that's how you can mention, Pritesh. I think that answers your question. Yeah. And yes, Srinivas, we were live on YouTube at the moment, so you can go to YouTube and watch the session all over again. Well, the recordings, as far as the premium batches are concerned, they are there once you join the course, you will get an access to the portal, student portal, and the recordings would be there in the student portal, and you would have them for live, right? So, well, I believe that answers everybody's questions, and the links are all shared in the chat box. Please go ahead and join the course, whichever suits you best. So the cost is not high, and certainly you will get the best educators for various modules, and go ahead and enroll yourself for this one, because you all are here for the purpose of preparing for your IELTS. Might as well take this opportunity, use the code SNLive20. Right? Okay, with that, I'm signing off. Bye-bye, everybody, and have a good day.